So I loved Star Trek. So Star Trek was one of my favorite things to watch growing up. All the reruns. I think it was only on 3 seasons, but I wasn't there for the original the original runs, but I watched a lot of the reruns. And I loved Bones McCoy. I mean, who doesn't love James T. Kirk, by the way? But everybody, but still, being the Doctor McCoy, he was very entertaining. But he had this thing called a tricorder, so he could look inside of somebody, diagnose exactly what was wrong, and then he could treat him with this thing. And there was no cutting, there was no needles, there was no shots. It's pretty amazing, but it's kind of like what we do now with ultrasound or we use laser. We can talk more about that, but at the time it was like, oh, that's impossible. But I always thought, hey, someday that's going to be possible, and I still feel that about how we can treat people. So I always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to, be like Bones McCoy and being able to use some type of a machine that can diagnose people and treat them at the same time and not have to cut into them, even though doing surgery, it is fun for me. I do like using my hands. I like fixing people. But as time's gone on, I've gone from, doing knee replacements, huge incisions, big, huge surgery, cutting with saws and drills and hammers, using metal and plastic, to smaller and smaller incisions, arthroscopic little poke holes, looking in there with a fiber optic scope, which is very small, less than a centimeter, less than a quarter of an inch. Now we even have needle arthroscopy, so we can look inside the knee with a needle, a fiber optic needle, and figure out what's going on. But we have even better, we have better quality ultrasound where you don't have to stick a needle or go and, do an incision or anything like that. We have much better MRIs where we can look. So there's a lot of things we can do without looking in there. The gold standard is still going in there and looking, but even that has gotten more and more um, less and less invasive, I should say. And so, yeah, it's naturally gone from big surgery to smaller and smaller surgery to now a lot of the things we can do without even having to necessarily perform surgery. We can use needles. We sometimes even laser, no needles, no shots, no known side effects, very, very safe, cleared by the FDA since 2009. So we're getting closer and closer to Star Trek Bones McCoy type material. And I'm all in on that because I've always loved that.